Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Another mixed bag today on our program as we have Jack Benny. Jean Hersholt is Dr. Christian. Also, William Conrad in an episode of Gunsmoke. We will also hear from the Hallmark Hall of Fame in a line transcription from Kansas City of Wyatt Earp, Marshal of Kansas. And we will wrap it all up with an episode of Lum and Abner. So all over the map on this Monday. Or Tuesday, I should say. This is the 5th day of December. It is the 339th day of the year, 26 days remaining until we get to 2024. Former President John Quincy Adams took his seat in the House of Representatives on this date in 1831. 1847, Jefferson Davis elected to the Senate, his first political post. In 1848, in a message before Congress, President James K. Polk confirmed that large amounts of gold had been discovered in California. In 1893, the first appearance of an electrical car. Yes, 1893. That's 130 years ago. In 1926, Sergei Einstein's The Battle Potemkin premiered. In 1932, German-born Swiss physicist Albert Einstein granted an American visa. Utah became the 36th state of the Union to ratify the 21st Amendment of the Constitution on this date in 1933, establishing the required 75% of states needed to enact the amendment that overturned the 18th Amendment, which had outlawed alcohol in the United States. In other words, ending prohibition.
The return of the saloon would mean the overthrow of civilization in our land. It was because I didn't want our boys to die drunkards that I fought and fight. I'm going to live long enough to see America so dry you'll have to prime a man before it can spit. And I'll fight the saloon from Hawaii to Hoboken. And I'll kick it as long as I've got a foot. And I'll fight it and punch it as long as I have a fist. I'll butt it as long as I have a head. I'll bite it as long as I have a tooth. And when I'm old and fistless and footless and toothless, I'll gum it till I go home to glory and it goes home to perdition.
Former National League outfielder in the 1880s turned evangelist Billy Sunday, whose preaching led to the 18th Amendment, and he fought the repeal tooth and nail. In 1941, Great Britain declared war on Finland, Hungary, and Romania. 1943, Army Air Force began attacking Germany's secret weapons bases in Operation Crossbow. 1955, the American Federation of Labor and the Congress of Industrial Organizations merged and formed what is now the AFL-CIO. 1955, E.D. Nixon and Rosa Parks led the Montgomery bus boycott. In 1969, Life magazine reported on the My Lai massacre in the middle of the Vietnam War. 1978, the Soviet Union signed a friendship treaty with the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. 1979, Sonia Johnson, formally excommunicated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for her outspoken criticism of the Church concerning the proposed Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. 2007, Westroads Mall, a gunman opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle at an Omaha, Nebraska mall, killing 8 people before taking his own life. And in 2017, the International Olympic Committee banned Russia from competing at the 2018 Winter Olympics for doping at the 2014 Olympics. Passing away on this date in history, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, the Impressionist painter Claude Monet, baseball player Shoeless Joe Jackson, Al Gore Sr., sports broadcaster Roone Arledge. From My Three Sons, the wife of the husband there, Roone Arledge. Beverly Garland is... It's one line up. It was Fred McMurray's wife in the series, Beverly Garland. Also, a football player, sportscaster, and anchor Don Meredith. Also, Dave Brubeck, Take 5, still one of the greatest jazz works of all time. The first president of South Africa, Nobel Prize laureate Nelson Mandela, passing away on this date, as did the pro wrestler The Dynamite Kid. Politician Bob Dole, and passing away last year on this date from Cheers, Kirstie Alley. Now let's turn to the birth dates, and that includes the 8th President of the United States, Martin Van Buren, General George Custer, airplane manufacturer Clyde Cessna, Walt Disney, born on this date. Do you think he would shake his head at what has happened these days? Strom Thurmond, the politician from, I believe it was South Carolina. Otto Preminger, the film director. County Agent Hank Kimball on Green Acres. Alvy Moore, such a wonderful character in that series. Singer and pianist Little Richard. And passing away this year, earlier in the year, pro wrestler Adrian Street. What an amazing character he portrayed, and what an amazing wrestler, too. He really could wrestle. Andy Kim, Rock Me Gently, is 77 years old today. You remember him from Buffalo Springfield? And from Loggins and Messina, Jim Messina, 76 today. Pro wrestler, the last American Wrestling Association champion before he went to the World Championship Wrestling. Larry Zbyszko, 72 today. Country's Gary Allen is 56. Comedian Margaret Cho, 55. From Hitch and Warcraft, Paula Patton, 48. From Terminator 3 and Sin City, Nick Stahl turns 44. From Mad Men and SEAL Team, Jessica Paré is 43. And from Malcolm in the Middle, Frankie Muniz turns 38. I'm getting old. Those some of the people who celebrate the 5th day of December as their birthday. And if this is your birthday,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And we go back 69 years, December 5th, 1954. Jack Benny goes Christmas shopping on this Tuesday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first,
When you look over your morning mail, there's one thing you can be sure of. The bills always seem to arrive right on time. How do they do it? Ever notice that businessmen use zip code? How about you? Use zip code on all your mail and keep the good news moving fast, too. Don't tie up the mail. Use zip code.
by the way, some of you have asked why we don't run our, we take those breaks there between shows. And quite frankly, all of our platforms, except for YouTube, runs messages during those times. YouTube doesn't, because YouTube does not like the old-time radio channels. And YouTube's just a horrid platform. If you listen on YouTube, can I suggest you download the Spreaker app at Spreaker.com. I got a link to it over at classicradio.stream. That's why we mention that. Those of you who watch on YouTube, and we know there's a lot of you, we don't get any revenue from YouTube. Nothing to support us being here. And so quite frankly, I tend to stress that you go the podcast route. If you're on an iPhone, you can get us through Apple Podcasts or the iTunes Store, and it costs you nothing. You can also get us through any app, through Spreaker, or any of a number of podcast apps. You just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and you can find a lot of those listed over at classicradio.stream. And while you're doing it, if you want to buy me a coffee, which actually comes up as buy me a Dr. Pepper, because I don't drink coffee. I really don't. Eek. Okay, now that I've ticked off all the coffee drinkers out there, the last time that Jack Benny went Christmas shopping on, well, I shouldn't say the last, next to the last time he went Christmas shopping on the radio, the final season of the Jack Benny Show, they did come back for a Christmas show in the, I believe it was 1956, for a 1-hour special that was sponsored, as I recall, by 3M. And it was a one-off special just because somebody at CBS sold it. So, but we do have that. And we'll have that on our Christmas show that we do for the Nevada Talk Network. We won't run it on here, but we will have it for you on that. Anyway, the Jack Benny Show, 69 years ago, December 5th, 1954. For the final time, Jack goes Christmas shopping and makes Mel Blanc's life a living hell.
The Jack Benny program, transcribed and presented by Lucky Strike, the cigarette that's toasted to taste better. This is Don Wilson, friends. Here's an important message for everyone who smokes. The sure way to get better taste from your cigarette is to make sure you get Lucky Strike. It's toasted to taste better. Of course, the better taste of a Lucky begins with fine tobacco, and then that fine tobacco is toasted. It's toasted. The famous Lucky Strike process tones up this naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco to make it taste even better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Yes, a Lucky Strike tastes better because it's the cigarette of fine tobacco and it's toasted to taste better. So be happy. Go Lucky. The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Rochester, Dennis Day, Bob Crosby, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the middle of the Christmas shopping season, and as usual, Jack is going to his favorite department store to purchase gifts for his gang. But before we go Christmas shopping, I'd like to take you to a modest little home in the suburbs of Los Angeles. The home belongs to a department store salesman and his wife. It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Melville! Mel, wake up! Mel!
What?
You were having a bad dream.
Oh, yeah. That same nightmare. I always have it this time of year, Beatrice.
About that blue-eyed old man that comes to the store for his Christmas shopping?
Yeah. Only this dream was worse. I looked at his hands, and instead of fingers, he had shoelaces. On one hand, the fingernails were plastic tips, and on the other hand was metal tips. Why do I always have to dream about him?
I can't understand it. He never comes over to my counter at the store.
Well, you're in the jewelry department. Blue Eyes ain't the jewelry buying type. Drives me crazy.
Now, Mel, control yourself. Maybe he won't come into the store this year.
Oh, he'll come. He's been coming in and driving me nuts for over 15 years.
Well, don't worry about it. Maybe he's mellowed. Maybe he'll be kinder now that he's getting old.
He was old 15 years ago.
Look, Mel. Look, you go to the store, and during my lunch hour, I'll come down to your department, and if you've had any trouble, I'll relieve you. Anyway, there's very little chance of seeing him now that you're in the art department.
Yeah, guess that's right, Beatrice. He don't look like the kind of guy who would go in for painting. He ain't the artistic type.
Now, Melville, we better get started, or we'll be late for work this morning. And you know how the store hates it when anyone's late during the Christmas rush.
Yeah, okay, Beatrice.
Mr. Benny, you've still got quite a few more names on your Christmas list.
Mary and my writers, that's the biggest problem of all, getting gifts from my writers. I'd get them something for their houses if they only lived in houses. But they're weird.
Now, wait a minute, boss. The one with the long arms lives in the house. It may be in a tree, but it's still a house.
Look, Rochester, I want to get something for Miss Livingston now, so you can do your personal shopping.
Thank you. And will it be all right if I charge my things to your account?
Charge it? What happened to the Christmas bonus I gave you?
I lost it.
Lost your bonus? Gambling?
Oh, no. I had a hole in my pocket and it rolled down the sewer.
Now, wait a minute, Roch. Stop making up jokes. I gave you a $25 check for a Christmas bonus.
I know, Mr. Benny, but I can't cash that check until after next Monday.
Why not?
Me and the check are appearing on You Asked For It.
Oh, yes. We'll show 'em. I'll meet you here later, Rochester.
Okay.
See, I still haven't gotten anything from Mary. I know what I'll do. I'll buy her a negligee. Now, where's the negligee department? Oh, that must be the floor walker over there, that man in striped trousers and the cutaway coat. Oh, Mister!
Yeah!
Are you the floor walker?
No, I'm a pallbearer, but my handle broke.
Look, I didn't come here for corny conversation. All I want to know is where I can buy a negligee.
On the 3rd floor, but I don't think they have anything in your size.
Now, don't be so smart. It's not for me.
Oh, for your wife?
No, I'm not married.
Don't tell me you got to look that way all by yourself.
Now, cut that out. Anyway, I don't need you. I'll find it. And the store is so crowded, I don't think I'll ever finish them. Hey, it looks like my orchestra arranger, Malin Mary. Hi, Malin.
Oh, hello, Jack.
Doing your Christmas shopping, eh?
Yes, I'm getting some gifts for the boys in the band.
Gee, it's a nuisance, isn't it, trying to get...
Hiya, Bud. Long time no see.
Huh? Oh, hello.
So long, Bud. See you around.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Jack, who is that fella?
Oh, he's a racetrack tout. He's always trying to talk me out of everything. I got to finish my shopping. So long, Malin.
Oh, just a minute, Jack.
Yeah?
I'm having a big party on New Year's Eve.
I know. You've already invited me.
Yes, and I thought that since you've given so many parties, you could help me out a bit. You see, I've already hired a caterer, and I thought you might recommend a good bartender.
Well, now, that's the silliest thing, Mal, spending good money on a bartender. Why don't you get one of the boys in your band? I mean, get Frank Remley. Nobody knows more about drinks than he does.
No, I wouldn't try that again, Jack. He was the bartender at the last party I gave.
Well, what happened?
Well, the first guest to arrive walked up and ordered a scotch and soda.
Uh-huh.
Remley bent down, got the scotch, never came up again.
No kidding. Well, thanks for inviting me anyway. I'll see you New Year's.
Good.
I'll be there.
And, Jack, if you run into Don Wilson, see if you can persuade him to come to the party, too.
Persuade Don Wilson?
Yes. He never wants to go anywhere since he's taking up painting as a hobby.
Painting? As a hobby? Say, I'm glad you mentioned that, Malin. I was worried what to get Don. For Don, you know, last year I got him a box of dates with nuts in them and everything. Now I'll get him some paints. I'm going to the art department. I'll see you later. They sure have everything for the artist here. Where's the salesman? Oh, there he is. Oh, clerk.
Yes, sir. What can I... It's you again.
Huh?
How do you find me every year? You got radar or something?
What are you talking about?
Gee, he doesn't recognize me. Maybe everything's going to be okay.
What are you mumbling about, clerk?
Oh, nothing. What can I do for you, sir?
Well, a friend of mine has taken up painting as a hobby, and I'd like to get him a nice set of paints.
Oh, very good, sir. Now, here's a set that's very popular and reasonable, too. It's only $9.95.
Well, gee, those tubes of paint seem very small.
Well, that's right, sir, but they're the best paints. And in addition to the primary colors, it also contains such exotic colors as vermilion, chartreuse, turquoise, cerise, heliotrope, citron, purple fuchsia, cardinal red, burnt orange, midnight blue, and shocking pink.
Yeah, it has a lot. See, that's a beautiful color right there. That's the most beautiful color I've ever seen. What do you call it?
Money green.
Well, I'll take it. Now, I'd like it gift wrapped.
Yes, sir. I'll be back in a second with it. Gee, he didn't even recognize me. And he didn't give me the least bit of trouble. In fact, he was real sweet. Oh, boy, I'm lucky. Oh, I'll say I'm lucky. This is my lucky day. There. That's a nice-looking package. Yeah, I'm even going to put on a little extra ribbon because he's such a nice old gentleman. Yeah, there. Yeah, that looks pretty. Well, here you are, sir. That'll be 10 1/4, including tax.
10 1/4? Gee, that seems like a lot to pay for just a few paints. Huh?
Well, not when you consider what you're getting. Most people don't mind paying the extra money for oil paints. They last so much longer than the watercolors.
Oh. You have watercolors, too?
Me and my big stupid mouth. I had to tell him you. I couldn't let well enough alone. I had to tell him.
Clerk, how much is the watercolor set?
$3.95, but they're not near as nice as these are.
$3.95. Huh? Let me see the set of watercolors.
But mister, I've already got these gift wrapped here with extra ribbon yet. It's beautiful. Your friend will love it.
Well, let me see the watercolors.
But the oil set is better. It's bigger. Your friend will like it better. The watercolors are messier. They don't last long. They'll run, and they haven't got that beautiful color money green.
Look, I don't care. I want to see the watercolor set.
Okay, I'll have to climb this ladder to get it. It's on the top shelf. I had to tell him. Wish I could paint red spots on my face so he'd think I had smallpox and he'd go away. I wish I had smallpox. It wouldn't do any good. This guy's lived so long, he must be immune to everything. But it's my own fault. Here's the watercolor set, mister. Look at it.
Say, this looks okay.
But it's only got 5 colors: gray, blue, black, red, and 30 brown.
I don't care. It's $3.95, and I'll take it. And I'll gift wrap it, and I'll be back.
I know you will.
Oh, my. Now, let's see. What else do I have to get? Gee, I still haven't gone to the lingerie department for Mary's gift.
Yes? What can I do for you, young man?
I'd like to buy a Christmas gift for my mother.
Well, a negligee is always a very suitable gift. Now, here's a lovely one that I'm sure would please your mother.
No, she wouldn't like that one. She never wears anything with a low neckline.
Oh, is she modest?
No, she's tattooed.
Well, here's something that might suit your mother more.
Gee, that looks nice. Only I'd like it in a brighter color. You see, my father is always depressed, and bright colors cheer him up.
Oh, well, we have a large selection of colors. But tell me, what size does your mother wear?
Well, gee, I don't know, but she's about as tall as you are.
Oh, does she have my build?
If she did, my father wouldn't need cheering up.
Now, how does this one seem?
Oh, that looks about the right size. I think she'll like it very much. Will you wrap it up and charge it, please?
Yes, sir. Now, who shall I charge this to?
To me. My name is Dennis Day.
Dennis Day?
Uh-huh.
The singer?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, gee, Mr. Day, I'm one of your most ardent fans. I buy all your records and everything. Why, when I hear you sing, I just quiver and shake all over.
3 coins in the fountain. There they lie in the fountain. Which one will the fountain...
Mr. Day! I'm not joking. No, I'm really a great admirer of yours.
Oh, well, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Could you sing a song for me?
Now? Here in the store?
Yes, while I'm wrapping your present, as a special favor to me. Won't you please sing a song?
Okay, quiver and shake, and I'll be glad to. Le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremme tutto il dì. Le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremmo ancor così. In the shoemaker's shop, this refrain would never stop as he tapped away, working all the day. At his bench there was he, just as busy as a bee, little time to lose with the boots and shoes. But his heart went pop inside the little shop when a lovely girl set him all a whirl. She had come to choose some pretty dancing shoes, and he heard her say in a charming way, shoes to set my feet a dancing, 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 dancing all the day. Shoes to set my feet a dancing, dancing, dancing all my cares away. Then he tapped and he stitched, for his fingers were bewitched, and he sewed a dream into every seam, making shoes oh so neat, just like magic on her feet. And he hoped she'd know that he loved her so. But she danced, danced, danced as though she were entranced, like a spinning top all around the shop. On her dainty feet she whirled into the street, and he heard her say as she danced away, le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremme tutto il dì. Le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremmo ancor così. Shoes to set my feet a dancing, dancing, dancing all the day.
Well, here's your package, Mr. Day, and thank you very much for singing.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Dennis! Oh, Dennis!
Huh? Oh, hello, Mr. Benny.
Yeah, I heard you singing. I was way on the other side of the store, but I thought it was a record.
Maybe that's because I've got a hole in my head. Well, I gotta run along, Mr. Benny. I still have lots of shopping to do.
Same here. So long, kid. Oh, Miss.
Yes, sir?
I'd like to get a gift for a girlfriend.
Well, just a moment, sir. That man at the end of the counter was here first.
Well, that's quite all right. Jingle bells, dum-bum-bum.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Benny.
Yeah, Rochester, did you finish your shopping?
Uh-huh. I even got a present for you.
Oh, that's nice. What is it?
Oh, now wait till Christmas.
Oh, come on. Tell me, Rochester. You know how I hate waiting. Is it something I can wear?
Uh-huh.
Is it something I'd wear above the waist?
Uh-huh.
A shirt?
Nope.
Is it something I wear above the shoulders?
Uh-huh.
I've got it. It's a hat.
No, but it's right under it.
Well, that's a strange gift to give me. Why should you get me that?
Well, I ruined one of your good ones. I threw it in the Bendix and all the curls came out of it.
Well, don't throw it away. Save it in case I ever get the part of an Indian in a picture.
Okay. Are you done with your shopping, Mr. Benny?
Not quite, but you know, I always have trouble getting something for Don Wilson, and this time I think I got him a gift he liked. A set of paints.
Oh, he should like that, boss. Whenever he sees me, he talks to me about painting. He's really crazy about that hobby.
I know, and I got him a lovely set of watercolors.
Watercolors? Oh, he's way beyond that. For the past few months, he's been painting with nothing but oils.
Oils? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
So Don only uses oil paints. Excuse me, Rochester. I'll see you later.
All right, there's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather.
Oh, clerk.
Oh, it's you again. Here's your watercolors, all gift wrapped and everything.
Well, I've changed my mind. I want the oils.
No, this can't be happening to me. I lead a good life. I'm kind to my mother. It can't be happening. It just can't.
Look, mister.
I know what it is. It's a bad dream. Yeah, another one of the nightmares. That's what it is, a nightmare. Beatrice, wake me up! Wake me up!
Mister, stop shouting. Calm down.
Take your hands off of me or I'll wake up and make you disappear. Oh, wait a minute. It ain't a dream. You're real. Look at your hands. You got fingers instead of shoelaces.
Look, mister, control yourself.
Okay, I'm getting calmer. I'll control myself.
Good.
Only, mister, do me a favor and tell me something, will you?
Certainly.
What business are you in?
I'm a comedian.
Well, what's funny about this?
Look, Look, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not trying to be funny. I just made a simple request. I want the watercolors changed to oils. Now, please gift wrap them, and I'll be back to pick them up later. Well, let's see. I got to get Mary's gift, and then... Oh, darn it, I'm out of cigarettes. I wonder where I can get some. Oh, there's a cigarette machine at the end of the aisle. There it is. You got a fancy cigarette machine. Let's see. Ought to have some change.
Hey, Bud. Bud.
Huh?
Come here a minute.
Who, me?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm getting a package of cigarettes.
What kind?
Lucky Strikes.
Oh, Lucky Strike, eh? Smart boy.
Huh?
You're putting your dough on the favorite.
I know.
And it's a great bet across the board.
Win, place, and show?
No, cleaner, fresher, smoother.
Oh.
And another thing.
What?
Come here a minute.
Huh?
Look at the breeding.
The breeding?
It's by Sold American out of Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Well, thanks very much.
You going to get a pack of Luckies?
Am I going to get a pack of Luckies?
Yeah.
Come here a minute.
Huh?
I'm going to get 2 packs.
2?
I'm trying for the daily double.
Smart boy. So long and Merry Christmas.
Same to you. If you want better taste in your cigarette, Lucky Strike is the brand to get. It's toasted to see. Yeah, I got the cigarettes. Now I've got to go...
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Why, Mr. Kitzel! Well, look who's here, Mr. Kitzel. Hey, how you come along with your Christmas shopping?
Practically finished.
Did you buy some nice presents?
Wonderful, especially for my magnificent mother-in-law.
Oh, your mother-in-law?
Yeah, this year I'm giving to my mother-in-law such a gift. I'm proud I thought of it. A trip to Hawaii.
Why, Mr. Kitzel, what a wonderful thing to give a mother-in-law. A round trip to Hawaii.
Who said anything about a round trip?
Oh, I see.
But for my wife, I'm giving her a... Oh, my.
What's the matter?
I better get a glass of water. I got to take an aspirin.
Oh, you have a headache?
No. My nephew just opened up a dentist's office, and I went to him this morning.
And you had a tooth pulled?
5 of them.
You had 5 bad teeth?
Only 1 bad.
Then how come you let him pull the other 4?
He's a beginner. He needs the experience.
Oh, I see.
But believe me, he's going to be a very good dentist. He studies very hard. You know, he wants to specialize in stopping pain. He's studying the nerves of teeth.
Really?
Yeah, really. You should see how delicately he works. He removes the nerves from the teeth and he hangs them on a tiny little rack.
Gosh, that must be hard work.
It's nerve-wracking.
Mr. Kitzel, you went through all that just to tell me a joke?
Oh, my. I guess I'm still a little silly from the laughing gas he gave me.
Oh, he used laughing gas as an anesthetic. Huh?
Yes, and you know something, it's the silliest thing. He puts his pliers in my mouth, turns on the gas, and it starts. I'm laughing, he's pulling. He's pulling, I'm laughing. Ay, such a mishmash.
Gosh, I never had that. How long did you keep laughing?
Until he handed me the bill.
No.
Well, I better run along. I need the aspirin.
Okay, well, Merry Christmas, Mr. Kitzel.
Happy Yuletide to you all.
Here you are, sir, and I assure you it's a lovely gift.
Well, thank you.
And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and do come back again.
I don't even know if I'm going to leave. You know, you're one of the most attractive salesmen.
Miss, can you please?
Oh, hello, Don.
Well, hi, Jack. Hey, I'll bet I know something you don't know.
What's that?
I ran into Bagby, the piano player, and now I know what the boys in the band are going to give you for Christmas.
What?
Beautiful set of golf clubs.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? I can use a new set. I can hardly wait till Christmas.
Well, you may even get them before Christmas if the paint dries.
Paint? What paint?
Where they scratched off the owner's name.
Well, they should have left the name on. I'd know who not to play with. What characters they are. By the way, Don, how's your wife?
Oh, she's fine now.
Now?
Yeah, just a few weeks ago, she broke out in hives, and her eyes were always watering, and the doctors didn't know what it was until they found out she had an allergy.
Gosh, what was she allergic to?
The oil in oil paints.
No.
Yeah, so now I'm going to have to go back to watercolors.
You use only watercolors now, Don?
That's right.
Excuse me, Don. I've got to go somewhere.
Now, Melville, control yourself.
I can't control myself, Beatrice. I'm going to quit.
Now, Mel, it can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad. Look, in the first place, how he finds me, I'll never know. But first he buys oil paints, then he changes them to watercolors, then back to oils, then watercolors, then oils. He keeps coming back like a boomerang. Me, I'm going to the office right now and quit.
Now, look, Mel, I'll tell you what to do. You go and take a nice long lunch hour and lie down, and I'll take your place at the counter.
Well, okay. Okay, when he comes, that's his package of oil paints right there.
All right.
I'll see you later.
Poor Mel. Gets upset so easily. I can't let him quit now. It'll ruin all our plans. We worked in the store together so long. We met in the store. He even proposed to me in the store. And now we're married. And who knows, someday we may have an addition to our family. Yeah. Soon we may hear the patter of the tiny feet of our own little floor walker.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Well, where's the clerk who's usually here?
Well, he's gone to lunch, but perhaps I can help you.
Well, I'm supposed to have a package of oil paints ready for me.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. This must be the man who's been driving Mel crazy. Yet it can't be. This guy couldn't bother anybody. He's such a kindly-looking old schnook. Here you are, sir. A package of gift-wrapped oil paints. $10.25, sir.
Look, miss, I changed my mind. I'd like to get a box of watercolors instead.
But, sir, these oil paints are already gift-wrapped.
Well, gift-wrap the watercolors.
But, sir, you... All right, I'll gift-wrap the watercolors. The customer's always right. I'll get some watercolors and wrap them, and I'll be right back.
See, while she's gone, I'd better write out a card for Don. Let's see, I want it to be something clever. Oh, I've got it. To Don Wilson. Here's lots of colors for portraits to paint. But don't paint yourself, 'cause that much there ain't. Say, that's cute. And people say I need writers. I'll sign it, Jack Benny. Oh, miss.
Ah, here are your watercolors. Isn't that a pretty package?
Yes, it is. Now, will you please unwrap it and put this card inside?
Unwrap it. Card inside. Mister, you can put the card on the outside.
Oh, no, the card may get lost that way. And when I spend $3.95 for a gift, I want them to know who sent it.
But, mister, I'll put the card on tight with Scotch tape.
I don't care if you weld it on. I want the card inside the package.
Now, look, why can't you be reasonable? I went to a lot of trouble unwrapping the other one and gift-wrapping this one. Have a little consideration, will you? Don't be so mean and so selfish.
Well, you're just as bad as that idiot clerk who went to lunch.
Idiot! Listen, you jerk, you're talking about my Melville.
I don't care who I'm talking about. Now unwrap that package and put the card inside.
Oh, no, not me. I know all about you. Melville warned me.
Look, miss.
First you wanted oil paints, then watercolors, then oil paints, then dates with nuts, and then plain dates.
Dates?
Then plastic tips, then metal tips, then plastic tips, then metal dates, then water tips. Then
Look,
dates
miss.
with oil, then plastic water, then shoelaces with nuts.
Look, miss.
Oh, I'm wise to you. You drove my husband crazy, but you're not going to do it to me.
Look, miss.
Do you hear? You're not going to do
Miss,
it
I'm
to
not-
me, you blue-eyed old goat.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I'll just send Don a card this year.
Just before Jack comes back again, here's a word for anyone who enjoys a good cigarette. All you have to do is look at a pack of Lucky's Friends, and you'll see the reasons for Lucky's better taste printed right on it. LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Light, naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco. And it's toasted. It's toasted is the famous Lucky Strike process that tones up Lucky's fine tobacco, bringing it to its peak of flavor, making it taste even better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. So be happy, go lucky. And say a wonderful way to say Merry Christmas to your friends is to give them Luckies and the beautiful Christmas cartons. These special Lucky cartons are handsomely decorated in keeping with the gay spirit of the Yuletide season. They're so nice to give, so wonderful to get. This Christmas, give Lucky Strike in Christmas gift cartons.
Well, boss, have you got everything?
Yes, I have.
Say, that's sure a pretty package. It looks so Christmassy with all that red paper.
That's not red paper, that's blood.
Blood?
I never thought she'd punch me in the nose. Good night, folks.
By the way, if you're wondering why you heard so much laughter during the commercials and so much giggling and interplay, and the fact that the show ran over 30 minutes long, it's because this was the original session which the show was recorded for broadcast. Much of the 1952, 53, 54 season was pre-recorded. And the reason it was pre-recorded was because they could. And, doing a live show on CBS radio and then going and doing a live show on CBS television right after was quite a bit for Jack. So a lot of shows are pre-recorded, and we have those thanks to so many collectors who have been able to get their hands on those original tape recordings. But broadcast on December 5th, 1954, 69 years ago. Jack Benny here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Americans, stand up and be counted in the fight against communism. You, as a private citizen, can strike back at communism. Where? In Eastern Europe, where 80 million people still bravely resist communist brainwashing. How? Through Radio Free Europe. RFE's daily broadcasts reach these 80 millions, keeping alive their belief in the free world. Give to Radio Free Europe Fund, Box 1963, Mount Vernon, New York.
And this is Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, our podcast here, and an episode of Jean Hersholt now. From the first season of the show, going back 86 years ago, Dr. Christian, December 5th, 1937, the story about the blind boy.
From Hollywood, California, Chapter 5 of the Chronicles of River's End.
The star of the show, Jean Hersholt, in his greatest of all roles.
The title of the show, Dr. Christian.
The sponsor of the show, the Cheeseburger Manufacturing Company, owners of the trademark Vaseline.
These programs, which bring you the outstanding Hollywood star Jean Hersholt in the role of the wise and kindly small-town doctor which he has made famous, are presented every Sunday afternoon to remind you of one of the most widely known home remedies in the world, Vaseline Petroleum Jelly. Don't neglect any skin abrasion, no matter how slight. Wash it immediately under running water and apply Vaseline Jelly. It costs only 10 cents a bottle anywhere in the United States, so there is no reason for any family to be without this standard first aid product. We take you now to Dr. Christian's office, where he and his friend Roy Davis, the druggist, are spending a quiet evening over a game of checkers.
Well, go ahead, Roy. It's your move.
Yes. Now, let's see here. There.
You walked right into a trap. There goes your king.
Yes. There goes your whole game.
I guess you're right, Roy.
You know, Doc, you get as much fun out of losing as you do out of winning.
Oh, why not? It's only a game. If you lose, you can always start out and try it again. Want to play another?
What time is it?
Oh, it's early. 25 minutes after 10.
All right, I'll go you another. Did you ever play with Ed Meadows?
Say, if he loses, it spoils his whole evening.
Yeah.
To hear him, you'd think a game of checkers was a matter of life and death.
Well, I suppose that's only human nature. We think the things we do are important just because we're doing them. Want to play with the black or the red this time?
I'll stick with the black. They're lucky.
Well, now take the two of us. There we are, having a friendly game of checkers. A nice, quiet evening with no interruption, and yet I'll bet that... Yeah, I spoke too soon.
Dr. Christian.
Why, Frank.
Can you come over to the hotel right away? The man in room 14. I think he's killed himself. Say, Roy, don't you think Dr. Christian has been up in room 14 an awful long time? What's he doing?
I don't know, Frank. But he's doing everything that can be done. You can count on that. If there's a chance at all of saving him, Doc will bring him out of it.
Do you think there is a chance?
Well, if there is, I'd say it's pretty slim.
He seems such a nice young fellow, too. Not like a man to do a thing like that. Why, at first I thought he was asleep, just like Amelia did. And then I saw how pale he was. And that bottle. What was in the bottle?
It was poison, all right.
Oh, it's terrible. Did he take much of it?
If the bottle was full, he took enough.
I was afraid to telephone to Doc, afraid somebody might come in the lobby and hear me talking. If the news got out, it wouldn't do the hotel any good.
How long after he took the stuff did you find him?
Well, I couldn't say when he took it. It was about 6:15 when he registered. He said he'd come in on the 6 o'clock bus from St. Paul.
That's funny.
What?
The 6 o'clock bus doesn't come from St. Paul.
Anyway, that's what he told me. Then he registered from St. Paul. And I showed him up to his room. And that's the last I saw of him till Amelia called me.
Well, did he say anything when he registered? Anything special?
No. No, he didn't have any luggage, so I told him I'd have to charge him in advance. And he said that'd be all right. He didn't talk like a man who was planning to, well...
Timmons.
Yes?
He's going.
Poor devil.
You think I better go up?
I wouldn't. There's nothing you can do.
Well, you might as well get to bed, Amelia.
I'll stay up if you'll need me. I don't mind.
No, it's after midnight. You go ahead.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Amelia. Well, I suppose he wanted to die. I wonder why.
I wonder who he is.
Why, his name's John Blake. I thought I told you.
That isn't his name.
But he signed the register.
I know. But Blake isn't his name, and he didn't come from St. Paul. I'd swear to it. I'll tell you something else, too. Doc asked me to go through his pockets to see if I could find any letters or anything that had his address on it. You know, in case we'd want to notify his home about him.
Yeah?
Well, there weren't any. He didn't have a thing in his pockets except some money. Now, that's kind of peculiar in itself. Most men will have a billfold or cards or something.
Yes, that's right.
Then I started to look for laundry marks on his clothes, figuring if the worst came to the worst, we could get a line on him that way. Well, there weren't any laundry marks either. Even the label inside his coat had been ripped off.
You mean you think...
I think he wanted to make sure we'd never discover who he was.
Well, I don't see why he'd go to all that trouble to fool us.
Maybe it wasn't us he was trying to fool. Maybe it was someone else. Frank, that fellow was afraid of something. Running away from something. Something that he feared even more than death.
What do you suppose it was?
I don't know. There's not much chance of finding out. Now.
Yes, I guess it's just one of those things that never will be...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, yes, Doc, yeah?
All right, call up Mrs. Stone and tell her I have a nursing job for her right away.
What?
I want her for the night, for all night, or maybe longer. Ask her to bring a suitcase.
Well, Doc, I thought that you...
I haven't time to talk now. I've got to get right back.
Doc, you have... He isn't...
He's going to live. All right. I'll be there in a moment. Oh, Mr. Blake. What are you doing here? I told you to stay in bed another day.
Yes, I know, but...
Oh, come in.
I hope I didn't get you out of bed.
No, I was reading.
I came to tell you I'm all right. I'm leaving in the morning. Going back to work in the lumber camp.
The lumber camp?
Yes.
But I don't know whether that would be wise. You've been pretty sick. You ought to stay here and rest for a little while. Get your strength back.
No, I've got to leave in the morning. I wanted to have a little talk with you first. Pay my bill.
Oh, yes. Sit down, will you?
Thank you. In the first place, about that poison I took. You understand, of course, it was a mistake.
Yes. I'm sure it was a mistake.
An overdose, that's all. No doubt the ethics of your profession make what I'm about to ask unnecessary, but you won't mention this to anyone?
No, of course not.
I'd regard it as a favor if you'd forget all about the incident. Forget you'd ever seen me. Now, about your fee, how much do I owe you?
$500.
Sorry, but I haven't that much cash on me.
Oh, that's all right. I'll take a check. I think Judy keeps my checkbook in this drawer. Yes, here it is. Oh, you can just write in the name of your bank if that's satisfactory.
Yes, that'll be all right. Oh, I don't believe I know your first name.
Paul.
Dr. Paul Christian. Wait a minute. If you don't mind, I'd rather send you the money.
Oh, suit yourself. I'll mail you a bill in a few days. Where will you be? What lumber camp?
Why, I'll be at... I haven't decided yet. I have several offers.
Well, then maybe better just make out the check now.
I'd rather not.
Why?
Well, I make it a rule always to pay cash. I've made a banking connection. You see,
Why don't you give the real reason? If you signed John Blake's name to a check, it would be fictitious. There isn't any John Blake.
I don't know what you're driving at. I am John Blake.
And you're a lumberman?
Yes.
Look at your hands. You haven't done one day's manual work in your life. I asked you $500 as my fee, and you don't even question it. To a lumberjack, $500 is a fortune.
Well, I didn't stop to think.
I see you didn't. Nor stop to get the name of a lumber camp to make your story ring true. Before you leave, it seems to me that you have a number of things to explain. Or would you rather tell your story to the police?
Well, this is ridiculous. You'll get your money tomorrow. Good evening, Dr. Christian.
Hello? Hello?
Wait a minute.
Hello?
I'll stay. But I don't know what you're driving at. I haven't any story to tell.
Well, then perhaps I can tell it. I came across something in the Chicago paper the other day. Oh, just by accident, only a few lines. But it mentioned that a young man by the name of Bruce Harwood had been missing for 3 days.
Well, what about it?
Oh, I think I can guess what happened to him. He came to River's End, an out-of-the-way little town. He registered at a hotel under the name of John Blake. He had been very careful to remove from his clothing all marks which might serve to identify him. But he overlooked one thing, a signet ring with the initial BH. It tallies pretty well, doesn't it, Mr. Harwood?
I presume you're very proud of figuring that out. Very proud of saving my life. Well, you needn't be. I hadn't expected to encounter an amateur detective or a doctor who didn't know when to leave well enough alone.
I don't think you'll do it again.
Oh, yes, I will. Quicker the next time. I know how easy it is. It's been very funny. I made a botch of life, and now I'm even prevented from dying successfully.
Oh, no. You haven't made a botch of life. Life is too big for you or anyone else to make a botch of it.
Well, my own life, then.
How can you tell? You haven't lived enough of it.
I've lived enough of it to know it's a dark welter, without purpose, without justice.
You're like a person who stands in front of a great painting which is covered by a curtain and sees only a tiny portion of it through a little tear on the cloth and says to himself, there's no beauty here, no pattern, only chaos.
I've heard all those arguments before. I don't want to be preached at. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything about me.
Oh, on the contrary. I know a great deal about you. Why, you're a young man who's had an excellent education, a considerable amount of money, perhaps a position in society.
Are those important enough to live for?
No. You haven't seen the things important enough to live for yet. They're still covered by that curtain. It has to be torn aside.
Those are simply words. Empty. They haven't any significance. Oh, I suppose you mean well enough. But it's no use. I've gone over this and over it and over it. And there's no other way out.
Tell me about it, son.
Well, why not? You might find it amusing. You were partly right about my having money. The Harwoods have been eminently successful. Empire builders, merchant princes, that sort of thing. I was raised on success stories. Well, after college, my uncle put me in charge of the Chicago branch of the business.
Well?
I couldn't make a go of it. I didn't dare to tell him that. No Harwood ever failed. So I took the firm's money and gambled with it. Oh, not for myself. I wanted to show a profit for the firm. For a while, I did. Then I began to lose. Got in deeper. Well, you can guess the rest of it. They probably found me out by this time. You know how it will look to them, that I'm a thief.
And so you came here and registered at the hotel?
Yes. And you should have let me die. Why didn't you?
Oh, you can always take that way. I have another suggestion. If it doesn't work, well, you're no worse off than you were before.
I'm not going back and face them.
No, it isn't that. Come in tomorrow morning and I'll tell you about it.
But what is it?
Not now. You're tired. In the morning you'll see things much more clearly.
You won't tell anyone who I am?
No, I won't. Come in early, about 5 o'clock, before anybody is around. Will you do that?
Well, all right. I'll be here.
Vaseline Hair Tonic performs two vital functions for your hair. First, it lubricates and cleanses the scalp. If you apply it directly to the scalp and rub it in briskly with the fingertips, and then shampoo with any mild soap, you will find your hair cleaner than ever before. Because the tonic loosens the dirt that collects in everybody's hair and scalp. The sooty air of our cities and the dusty air of our country deposits dirt on your hair and scalp just as it does on your face. Women know that cold cream will take off this unwelcome dirt from the face without irritating the skin. Well, Vaseline Hair Tonic does exactly the same non-irritating cleansing job for your scalp. So get a bottle tomorrow and use it every time you shampoo your hair. The second function of Vaseline Hair Tonic is to help you keep your hair well groomed, neat, always in place. Brush a few drops on each morning and your hair will look well throughout the entire day. A 40-cent bottle of Vaseline Hair Tonic will give you many weekly shampoos as well as daily groomings. We believe you'll agree it is an inexpensive way to keep your hair looking its best. We return now to our story of Dr. Christian of River's End as played by Jean Hersholt. The scene, a stretch of country road paralleling the river. Through the cold gray fog of early morning looms a pair of automobile headlights.
Yes, the mornings are pretty crimpy this time of the year. Especially down here where you get the mist off of the river. Road's kind of bumpy, isn't it?
Yes.
They ought to do something about those chuck holes. But then there's so few people live out this way that I suppose it isn't worth spending the money.
Isn't it?
The land is hardly worth farming. But the people seem to get along all right. Now take the Jenkses, the place where we're going. George works in the lumber camps most of the year, and Mrs. Jenks and a hired man runs the farm. Of course, when the boy is older,
Will you please tell me the purpose of all this? What are we doing?
Why, I've already told you. I have to make a call and get back to the office. It's a long way, so I had to start early.
Why am I alone?
Well, I didn't think you had anything else to do.
Well, I have. I have an appointment. And this time I intend to keep it. Last night, I almost believed what you told me. That you had another way out. I see now you were stalling. All you have is a nice little set of phrases. You can't do anything. You can only talk.
No. I'm afraid I can't do anything.
Then why did you lie to me? Why don't you let me alone? Oh, I know the answer. You think if you can stall long enough, I'll lose my nerve. You think you can persuade me to go back, humiliate myself, do a term in prison. You'd have a nice little moral victory to your credit, wouldn't you? No doubt you'd get a lot of smug satisfaction out of it. Well, you're due to be disappointed. I haven't lost my nerve. I'm going through with it.
It's better not talk so loud. Here we are.
I'm going through with it right now. There's the river over there. It's as good a way as any.
Wait.
Let loose of me.
Will you listen a moment?
I've listened to you too long already. By now they've found out about me. They'll be trying to trace me. Let loose, I tell you.
Don't be a coward.
What difference what I am? I don't want to hit you, but I'll have to if you don't let me.
Oh, only listen to me. I can't let you do this. I'm responsible for you.
All right, I absolve you from the responsibility.
But I brought you out here. Mr. Timmons at the hotel knows that you came with me. I've got to bring you back.
Oh. Who's the coward now? So you're afraid? Afraid something will happen to hurt your precious reputation. You should have thought of that before you tried to interfere. I'm sorry, Dr. Christian, but this time you're not going to be able to stop me.
Wait. Listen, what difference would a few minutes make? All I'm asking you is to go back to town with me.
You're stalling again.
No.
You'll get me in town and turn me over to the police.
If I'd wanted to turn you over to the police, I could have done it last night. After all, my intentions were good. You could do me this one favor. Be a little generous.
Why should I do a favor for you? Or for anyone? What favors have I received? How generous has life been to me?
I won't argue with you. I'm only asking you to wait for just a little while.
How long will you be in this house?
An hour, not more than that, and it's early, only a little after 5 o'clock. We can be back again in town by 6:30. You want to leave this morning. You can still leave.
And you won't try to stop me?
No.
Or phone anyone about me from the house?
On my honor.
I'll go in with you. Come on.
Oh, Dr. Christian, I was afraid you weren't coming.
I'm a little late. I stopped for a friend of mine, Mrs. Jenks, Mr.
My name is John Blake.
I'm glad to know you, Mr. Blake. Are you a doctor?
No.
But I thought the case might interest him, Mrs. Jenks.
Oh, doctor, do you think everything is all right?
Oh, I'm sure of it.
After all these years, I couldn't stand it now.
There's nothing to worry about. In a few minutes, we... Well, hello there, young man.
Hello, Dr. Christian. I thought I heard your voice. Spot, stop that barking. It's only Dr. Christian.
Yes, but you should be ashamed of yourself. Come here.
There's someone else, though, isn't there?
It's Mr. Blake, dear. Dr. Christian's friend.
Oh, hello, Mr. Blake.
How do you do?
Well, Bobby, how do you feel this morning?
I feel swell, Dr. Christian.
Oh, that's fine.
Have you and Mr. Blake had breakfast, Doctor?
No, but we'll eat when we get back to town. Mr. Blake is in a little hurry.
I could make you some coffee.
No, thank you. Just get Bob ready and bring him back here.
In this room? Not the bedroom?
Oh, this room is as good as any.
How do you want me to get ready, Dr. Christian? What do you want me to do?
Well, you might wash your face.
Come on, Spot.
And while you're at it, Bobby, wash behind your ears.
Okay.
Oh, Mrs. Jenks,
Yes.
It might be a good idea to have a basin of warm water handy.
I'll heat some right away, Doctor.
All right.
Who are these people?
Jenkses. Don't you remember me telling you? Mrs. Jenks runs the farm and her husband works in the lumber camps. That's why he isn't here.
I've often wondered how the other half lived. To sing this hovel, I understand. They don't.
They're very poor.
Can you imagine why anyone living in circumstances like these would want to go on living? What incentive is there? What reason? Nothing but a biological urge to hang on to life, no matter what it does to you.
That's a cruel doctrine.
But it's true. What's the matter with the boy?
He's blind.
Oh.
He's been blind from birth for 14 years.
But he seems quite cheerful.
Yes, he's never known anything else. He's lived always in darkness. Yet in a certain fashion, I suppose he sees. Probably clearer than many of us.
I noticed he realized there was someone else in the room.
That's what I mean. There's a kind of vision which doesn't depend upon our eyes, which permits us to see in spite of the darkness. When we lose that, we are very blind.
I thought the bandage around his eyes was, well, something temporary.
It is. Robert was born with congenital cataract, something only an operation could remedy. Rather an expensive operation because it couldn't be performed here. And as I told you, the Jenkses are very poor, but they wanted a boy to see. For 14 years they've lived for that, sacrificed, saved what little money they earned. Last week I took Robert to the hospital in the city.
And was the operation?
Well, we'll know this morning. That's why I came here, to remove the bandages, to tear aside that curtain which has been hanging over that great painting I spoke of.
You might have been more merciful to leave the curtain as it is.
Here's the water, Doctor.
Or just put it on the table there.
How's my face look now, Dr. Christian?
Well, you've done a very nice job. Aha, behind your ears, too.
Say, Dr. Christian, can Spot stay here and watch?
Why not? Now, you sit down here in this chair, Robert, and face in the window.
Shall I pull down the shade, Doctor?
No, the morning light is very soft. Now, sit still, Robert. This isn't going to hurt a bit. I'm just going to take off the bandages.
I'm not afraid, Dr. Christian. But, gee, I'm excited.
Lean back in the chair. That's right.
Oh, Doctor.
There.
It isn't going to work.
He can't see.
Mother. Mother. I can see. I can see. I can see your face, Mother.
Oh, for the first time. For the first time. Oh, Bobby, darling.
Here,
Bobby.
why is everybody so sad? This will never do. Look, Robert. Here's Spot.
Oh, Spot. Gee, you're swell. I didn't know you had a mark around your eye.
And here's the room you've lived in.
Oh, it's beautiful. Let me touch things. I can see them, can't I? The table. And the big chair where Dad sits when he's home. What are those things in the box outside the window?
Geraniums, dear. They're dead now. You see, the frost killed them.
But they're so pretty. Dr. Christian,
Yes?
what's that in the sky?
Why, that's dawn breaking. The beginning of a new day.
Dawn? That's dawn. I've heard about it, only I didn't think it would be like this. So beautiful. It's like I dreamed heaven might be. Is it this way every day?
Yes.
Oh, Dr. Christian, the world is wonderful, isn't it?
Yes, Robert. Wonderful.
Dr. Christian's office? Yes. Oh, yes, Jerry. I'm just ready to leave. Yeah, sounds swell. I'd love to. In about 2 minutes. Goodbye.
Say, look here, young lady. Seem to me that young man...
So long, Dr. Christian. I'll see you in the morning. Oh, hiya, Roy.
Hello, Judy. Hello, Doc.
Oh, hello, Roy.
Where have you been all day? I phoned a half a dozen times. Judy told me you were still out.
Yes, I had to go out to the Jenks place to take the bandages off Robert's eyes.
How is the boy?
He's just fine. He sees as well as you do. Maybe better if the way you play checkers is any indication.
Is that so? I can beat you any day in the week.
Yeah?
This is no place for me if you men are going to start in on that interminable game again. I'll be in early tomorrow, Dr. Christian.
All right, Judy. Have a good time. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Now then, Roy. Today I'm lucky. Want to try it?
Well, you'll be playing with dynamite, Doc, but you've asked for it. You get out the checkerboard.
Now, what did I do with it the last time I beat you?
Huh? What?
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Now, just sit down and relax. This is going to hurt a little. You want the red or the black?
I'll take the black.
Well, black will be just the proper color when I get through with you.
Say, whatever became of the young fellow at the hotel?
John Blake?
Now, that wasn't his right name.
Well, whatever it was, he had a change of heart. The side of the world wasn't such a bad place after all. After he'd seen it through somebody else's eyes.
How do you mean, Doc?
He was with me when I took the bandages off the Jenks boy. Gave him something to think about. This afternoon he made up his mind to go back home.
What was the matter with him, anyway?
Oh, he'd had a few business reverses, that's all. It's so silly to take anything like that seriously. Why, it's just a game. If you lose, you can always start all over again.
Like checkers, huh?
Yes, like checkers. Trouble is, we think the things we do are important just because we're doing them. Say, it seemed to me that I said that someplace before.
You did.
Oh, that's where I heard it. Now, go ahead. Your move.
And so we leave Dr. Christian playing a well-earned game of checkers with Roy Davis.
And return the microphone to Art Gilmore, playing the question and answer game with Judy Price. Only this time you ask the questions, Art, and let me give the answer.
Very well, Judy. Explain to me and the radio audience just what Vaseline petroleum jelly really is.
Well, in the first place, the word Vaseline is a registered trademark owned by the Cheese Bureau Manufacturing Company and used by them to identify their large group of medicinal and toilet preparations.
But where did it come from?
Robert A. Cheesebro, founder of the business, coined it. When the first oil well was sunk in 1859, he became one of the pioneer manufacturers of oil products.
And was he the first to make petroleum jelly?
Yes, through a special process of distilling and filtering. Vaseline jelly is odorless, absolutely uniform in color, purity, and melting point. And it's made without the use of chemicals.
And a jar or tube of Vaseline jelly purchased in New York and one purchased in Cape Town are exactly the same as to content?
Exactly. All Vaseline products are manufactured with the same degree of scrupulous care, are sterilized in the process of manufacture, and packed in sterilized containers.
Well, what can people who have to stand on their feet a great deal do to relieve the tired, aching foot muscles?
A hot foot bath at night followed by a massage with Vaseline jelly is very restful. It helps you avoid calluses and chapped heels, too.
Well, Judy, here's the last question. How can I keep a friend of mine from walking in his sleep?
And here's the last answer. Get him a bicycle.
The prices of Vaseline preparations mentioned on this program apply only in the United States. When you purchase any Vaseline product, be sure to look for the trademark Vaseline on the package. If you don't see it, you are not getting the genuine article. Join us again next Sunday afternoon at this hour when the makers of Vaseline preparations again present Jean Hersholt, one of the foremost stars of Hollywood, in the role of Paul Christian, the Doctor of River's End. And by the way, if you haven't seen Heidi, the current 20th Century Fox hit, in which Jean Hersholt appears with the world's most engaging child, Shirley Temple, you have a treat ahead of you. Jean Hersholt appears on this program through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox. This is Arthur Gilmore bidding you good afternoon for the makers of Vaseline preparations. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
I am constantly amazed when we can find shows from almost 90 years ago, and they're in such exceptional audio quality and require very little touch-up on my part. And yet we find shows from 60 years ago, and they just sound like absolute dog doo-doo. December 5th, 1937, 86 years ago, Jean Hersholt, Dr. Christian. The show would be chosen by CBS as the dramatic high spot of the week, and it would be recreated just a few days later, December 12th, on the program The People's Choice with Jean Hersholt. All righty, tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater, we're going to deal with crime and drama. An episode of This Is Your FBI and Operation Roomba from 1946. An episode of Suspense from 1955, When the Bow Breaks. An episode of Gangbusters from 1947, and the Supersonic Safecrackers. And an episode of The Challenge of the Yukon from December 6, 1950, and The Indian Sign. And, of course, we'll wrap it all up, not with Lum and Abner, but with Fibber, McGee, and Molly in a quarter-hour show, which I dearly enjoy. Coming up next, we'll head out west, not far from where I grew up, Dodge City, Kansas. 70 years ago, December 5th, 1953, William Conrad in Gunsmoke. Gosh, I wish I had that voice. But first...
The Postmaster General of the United States, W. Marvin Watson.
Each year, the mail load increases by billions of letters, parcels, and publications. To handle this tremendous volume of mail, we need a modern postal system, and we're working toward that goal. What can be done now? The easiest, fastest way to improve mail service is to use zip code. With zip code, mail can be sorted faster and more efficiently. Help yourself to better postal service. Use zip code.
Thanks for joining me for the Classic Radio Theater podcast. I don't remember if I told the story here on the podcast before. I know I've told it on our local radio station, but when I first went into radio back 30 years ago, I was told that I would never be a success in radio. I never would be, because I didn't have that voice. I didn't have the William Conrad or, one of those great deep voices that announcers had back in those days. And look at me now. We've been on hundreds of radio stations in the past 20 years, and it still amazes me that you're listening. And I really appreciate that and love hearing from you at classicradio.stream, which is our webpage, classicradio.stream. Now we're going to go back 70 years. Oh, by the way, I got a note from Debbie in Maryland. I hadn't heard from her in a long time, and she didn't know we were doing the podcast still. So salute, Debbie. We love you. Glad you're listening. William Conrad now from Dodge City, Kansas, an episode of Gunsmoke from 70 years ago, December 5th, 1953.
Now, Sugar Crinkles, the sugar rice treat that's just right sweet, is proud to present Gunsmoke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke.
Gunsmoke, the story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. Say, if there ever was a cereal designed to boost a family's breakfast morale, it's new Sugar Crinkles. Why, that sugar rice treat that's just right sweet makes breakfast more fun than a circus. Come breakfast time, just pour on milk, and you got a breakfast main dish as you like it. Those golden nuggets of sugar-coated rice we call Sugar Crinkles are really special. Not too sweet, the way some sugar-coated cereals seem to be, and not like others that don't seem sweet enough. Sugar Crinkles really are the sugar rice treat that's just right sweet. And whether you eat them from the bowl for breakfast, from the pack as a snack, or both ways, you'll love Sugar Crinkles. Try them soon. And now, Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad.
I got the mail, Mr. Dillon.
Oh? That looks like official stuff, Chester.
Yes, sir, it is. All for you. Every bit of it.
Were you expecting a letter?
Oh, no, sir. If I ever got a letter, it'd just mean trouble of some kind.
Well, that's what my mail usually means. Yeah, not this time, though.
No new wanted notices?
Yeah, not a one. Looks like all the bad men have had a change of heart.
Sure does. There hasn't been a reward posted for anybody in over a month.
Well, not that we know of, anyway.
Mr. Dillon? I think I'll go see if there's any beer left over at the Alfraganza. You join me?
No thanks, Chester.
Okay, sir. I'll see you later.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, mister. Well, hello.
Tell me, is it all right to tie my horse here?
Of course it is.
Well, some towns, they don't like strangers being too bold.
Well, there's mostly strangers in Dodge.
It's a pretty big town. Heard a lot about Dodge.
Good or bad?
Bad, mostly. No offense to you, mister.
Well, I don't own Dodge.
I'll buy you a beer.
Well, I was just going into the Alfraganza here.
You know, a fella feels funny when he don't know nobody in the place.
Oh, I've been that way many a time. Where are you from, anyway?
Colorado Territory.
A lot of country out there.
Sure is. Bartender?
Wait a minute.
Sure.
Hello, Chester.
Oh, Sam.
Now, what'll it be, stranger?
We'd like 2 beers, please.
You must be buying.
Yeah, I am. Why?
You don't look like you got any more than the price of 2 beers on you.
Oh, don't mind Sam, mister. He gets spells like this.
That's all right.
It's all right, he says. And if it wasn't all right...
Oh, leave him alone.
Well,
Sam,
I
my
hate these
gracious.
saddle bums that ride 100 miles to a fine saloon and then order a glass of beer. One thing I'll say for the Texans, they may cause a little trouble now and then, but they drink right.
Well, I don't take whiskey myself, but I'll buy you one, mister.
Oh, beer's good enough for me. Sam, you stay up too late nights. It sours you.
It'd sour anybody. Waiting on a lot of riffraff.
Hey, Sam. Sam, you better take it easy how you call this feller.
I had, huh?
You sure had. You know who this is?
What do I care who he is?
You're Lew Madellon, ain't you, mister?
Lew Madellon?
Why, sure it is. I seen him 3 months ago over at Colorado at La Junta. He was right across the street, and he just shot 2 men. Fastest thing ever happened. I'd sure hate to tangle with him.
You really Lew Madellon, mister?
I seen you right at the start, Madellon. That day at La Junta. You sure built yourself a reputation since then.
Oh, yeah, I've heard talk about you. You don't look like a gunman, though, nor act like one neither.
Well, they always said he was real soft-talking and polite-like. I'm proud to know you, Madellon. My name is Casey.
How do you do, Mr. Casey?
Mr. Casey. Imagine Lew Madellon calling me Mr. Casey. Say, I sure would like to buy you a drink.
No, wait a minute, Casey. I sort of owe this man an apology. The drinks will be on the house, okay?
Well, that's kind of you, bartender.
Sure. I just want you to feel welcome here, anytime.
Mr. Madellon, how come you're wearing your gun in the holster now? I always heard you carried it loose in your belt.
I can handle it both ways.
Maybe you thought people wouldn't recognize you so fast wearing it different. It kind of marks a man right off, carrying his gun in his belt.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Say, I'm sure proud to know you. I never got real acquainted with a man of your breed before.
My pleasure.
My, you sure are polite, Mr. Madellon.
No need to be otherwise, I figure.
Well, one thing, you make a lot of friends mighty fast. But then I guess that's easy for a man like you.
Sometimes it is. Well, let's move over to the table, gentlemen. We'll have our beer there.
Sam, Mr. Madellon wants the drinks brought to a table.
You bet. Be right there.
Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Say, I've been looking all over for you.
Oh, trouble?
No, sir, but there sure could be. Did you ever hear of Lew Madellon?
Is he in town?
Yes, sir. He was right in the Alfraganza there about an hour ago. I had a beer with him.
Well, what's he doing in Dodge? You find that out?
Well, he didn't say, Mr. Dillon, but he is about the nicest, politest fella you ever met.
All I've heard about him is he started killing people a few months ago up in Colorado Territory.
Yes, sir. He's a gunman, all right. Casey saw him in a fight in La Junta. He's with him right now.
Casey's a fool, Chester. Don't you be.
No, sir. It's just that I never met nobody like him. Oh, he's so quiet and easygoing.
Sure. I think I'll have a talk with him, Chester. Come on.
Say, you think he's here looking for trouble, Mr. Dillon?
Man like that's always looking for trouble.
Well, yes, sir, I guess that's true, all right.
I didn't
That's him. Sitting right over there with Casey.
Here's Monday of the week. I've got 3 more days here in town. And before I quit La Junta, I said to him, I want to know sure that... Hello there, Marshal. I guess Chester told you who this is, huh? This here's Lew Madellon, Marshal.
Hello, Madellon.
Greatest gunman in Colorado Territory since Clay Allison went to New Mexico.
Yeah. I've heard a little about you, Madellon. Pretty new at this game, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Pretty new.
Casey didn't mention it, but my name's Dillon. I'm a U.S. Marshal. I represent the law in Dodge.
Glad to know you, Marshal Dillon.
Are you planning to stay here long?
Well, I don't make plans much, Marshal.
I thought maybe you were here for some reason.
Oh, no. No reason. None I can think of, anyway.
I see.
Yeah, I'd hate to be in your shoes if you try to run Lew Madellon out of Dodge, Marshal.
I told Chester that you're a fool, Casey. Now I'm telling you.
Madellon's a friend of mine. You better talk easy to me.
Shut up, Casey. Madellon, this is just what I came to tell you. Trouble breeds around a man like you. Somehow it can't be helped. And I'm hired to keep trouble out of Dodge.
Don't worry about me, Marshal.
I'm not worried about you.
Well, no, sir. Ain't nobody going to take Lew Madellon.
Yes, there is. No matter how good he is, somebody will kill him one day. It always happens sooner or later.
You, maybe, Marshal?
Maybe. If he starts any trouble.
There's nothing to worry about, Marshal.
Don't you tell him a man like you ain't afraid of him, Madellon. Tell him.
I think he knows that. Don't you, Marshal?
I'm an old hand at this game, Madellon. You're new. But if you live long enough, you'll find out that being afraid isn't what counts.
No? Well, what does?
Worrying about it. The way you're worrying right now. I have a feeling you've been plain lucky so far, Madellon. But don't count on it lasting.
I know what I'm doing, Marshal.
What are you doing in Dodge, Madellon?
I wanted to see the town. Isn't that all right?
Yeah, that's all right. But the first sign of trouble and you're through here.
Sure, Marshal. Sure.
If your family's getting weary of the same old breakfast cereal every morning, it's time to retire it and introduce them to New Sugar Crinkles. Say, New Sugar Crinkles is the sugar rice treat that's just right sweet. And I'm here to tell you, Sugar Crinkles make breakfast more fun than a circus. Golden crisp nuggets of sugar-coated rice, and every nugget in your breakfast bowl just right sweet. Forget your experience with sugar-coated cereals that seem too sweet, and with others that don't seem sweet enough. Treat yourself and your favorite family to New Sugar Crinkles at breakfast time and snack time, too.
For your breakfast or a snack, you love Sugar Crinkles. Sugar Crinkles can't be beat. Sugar ice cream that's just right sweet.
With milk for the breakfast joy.
As a snack from the pack, oh boy! Can't be beat, just right sweet. Sugar Crinkles, good
to eat.
Now back to Gunsmoke.
I'd seen a lot of gunmen and killers in my time, and some of them were mighty peculiar people. But the strangest I'd ever run across was Lew Madellon. It wasn't his quiet, polite manner that bothered me, but the feeling I got that he wasn't very sure of himself or of what he was doing. I didn't see him again that day, or the next, until along toward evening. I was sitting in Doc's office when Chester came up and told me he'd heard Ab Fisher was in town. I'd known Fisher some years back, and I had heard a lot about him since. So I set out at once to find him. Having one gunman around was bad enough, but having two meant certain trouble.
You're going to look in the Texas Trail, Mr. Dillon?
I might as well try it first. It's closest.
Yes, sir. Oh, why does everything have to happen at once?
Nothing's happened yet, Chester.
See him?
No. But there's Lew Madellon over there.
Why, he's sitting with Miss Kitty, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Stay here, Chester, and keep your eyes open, huh?
All right, sir.
Kitty, I'll tell you what I'll do. Oh, hello, Master.
Hello, Kitty. Madellon.
Pull up a chair, Marshal.
Oh, thank you.
You look worried about something, Matt.
Maybe it's because I'm sitting with his girl.
You're sitting with me because you got the price of a drink, mister.
That's not very nice of you, Kitty.
Never mind, Madellon. Tell me, do you know Ab Fisher?
Ab Fisher? No, I don't, Marshal.
Ever heard of him?
Never even heard of him.
Good. So long. Goodbye.
He's sure worried about something. I know he is.
Don't pay any attention to him, Kitty. Have another drink?
Where'd you get all the money? You didn't have much last night.
Casey over there lent me some till mine gets here.
I've heard that story before, too.
Who's this?
Never saw him before.
So you're Lew Madellon. Who are you?
Ab Fisher.
Oh, I'm beginning to understand this. If you gentlemen will excuse me.
What do you want, Fisher? Told me you were in town. Thought I'd like to meet you. Oh. Well, I'm glad to know you. I heard about you in Denver. Oh, sure. They say you're pretty fast. Yeah, I guess I am. Madellon, it makes me uncomfortable to be around a man who thinks he's better than I am. Huh. Don't feel that way. Here, I'll buy you a drink. Put your money on the table. All right. There it is. And there's mine. I don't understand. One of us gets 4 drinks. The one that lives. What? Draw, Madellon. Go on, draw. No, wait, listen. And I will. You killed him. You killed Lew Madellon.
Yeah, did you?
But he didn't even draw. He never even tried. He had his chance. If he lives, I'll give him another one. Anytime. Right now, I'm going to have me 4 quick drinks.
Hold it, Ab. Madellon.
Oh, so it is.
Don't try anything.
Why should I, Matt?
You're under arrest, Ab.
What for?
For killing Lew Madellon. They say you drew first.
He was kind of pokey about it, and I had to. But you can't arrest me, Matt.
It's murder, Ab.
Guess you haven't heard. Lew Madellon's got a price on his head. He's wanted in Denver for shooting a few citizens while he was robbing a bank. Dead or alive, Matt. I'll get $1,000 for this.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
You're no good anymore, Ab, but at least you never tried to lie your way out of anything I know of.
If it wasn't true, Matt, I'd have tried to shoot you.
I'll telegraph about it. But meanwhile, you'll have to sleep in jail.
Sure, Matt. Save me the price of a room.
Oh, Casey, don't stand there. Get Madellon over to Doc's.
Here it is, Mr. Dillon. They finally answered your telegraph, and Ab Fisher's right. $1,000 for Lew Madellon, dead or alive, and it's signed by the sheriff up in Denver. Will I tell Fisher about it?
No, let him wait a while. He isn't worried anyway. I'm going to go up to Doc's and see if Madellon's still alive.
Yes, sir.
How is he, Doc?
Well, he's alive, Matt, but not for long.
Can he talk?
Oh, he can talk all right, but when he goes, he'll go fast. There's nothing more I can do for him.
Where have you got him? In the back room?
I thought he'd be quieter there.
Come in with me, Doctor.
Sure, Matt. Sure. Marshal Dillon's here, Madellon.
Hello, Marshal.
How you feeling, Madellon?
Poorly. I ain't gonna make it, Marshal. That fella shot me up bad.
Yeah. Madellon, I want to ask you something about last night.
Oh. Then you found out?
No, I haven't found out, but maybe you'll tell me. Why didn't you draw on Ab Fisher?
I was too scared, like you said. I tried to tell him about everything, but he shot me before I could talk.
That doesn't make sense. How could you have killed all the men they say you have acting the way you do?
Marshal, I never killed a man in my life.
What?
No, sir. I'm just a poor cowboy. I got fired my last job, and I thought maybe I'd find something to do around here.
What are you talking about?
It's the truth. I ran into them fellas at the bar. They thought I was a big gunman. And they gave me a lot of respect, Marshal. I never had no respect before. From nobody.
Oh. Well, what is your name?
Coots. W. Coots.
W. Coots.
Well, I thought something was wrong.
Guess I look like that Lew Madellon, don't I?
You fooled Casey anyway.
But I sure couldn't act like them. I'm in bad shape, Marshal.
I'm sorry, Coots.
It's all right. First time in my life I got any respect. But I first...
He's dead, Matt.
W. Coots, Poor devil.
Yes, it's kind of sad, Matt.
Yeah. It's going to be kind of sad for Ab Fisher, too. Now I gotta go tell him that he killed an innocent man. And he'll probably hang for it. He's going to be mighty disappointed.
In just a moment, we'll tell you about next week's adventure on Gunsmoke. If you want to be a real good scout, Mom, tell you what to do. See that your whole tribe sits down to Post Toasties for breakfast in the morning. What a way to start the day for every big and little Indian in your wigwam. You see, Post Toasties are heap good cornflakes. Spankin' fresh, crisp, with that sweet kernel corn flavor toasted right in. It's a feather in your cap to serve 'em. Sure, because Post Toasties are not only the best thing that's happened to corn since the Indians discovered it. Post Toasties are the best thing that ever happened to breakfast. And say, if you want to make a good thing even better, add your favorite fruit to that bowl full of Post Toasties, sugar, and milk. It's mighty delicious nourishment. Get Post Toasties, the heap good cornflakes, next time you shop. Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, Lauren Stobkin, Harry Bartell, and Herb Ellis. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Ken Peters speaking. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Listen next week at this time when Gunsmoke will be brought to you by Post Toasties, the heap good cornflakes.
70 years ago, December 5th, 1953, Gunsmoke here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Oh, you gotta love that. You know, when people try to be something they're not, they get in more trouble than if they just be themselves. Okay, coming up next, an episode of the Hallmark Hall of Fame from 69 years ago, December 5th, 1954. Wyatt Earp, Marshal of Kansas, as we continue out west here on this episode of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. Several months ago, I mentioned that we got these great episodes of the Hallmark Hall of Fame. And what it turned out to be is that many of the episodes were just horrible episodes. Badly copied transcriptions that had a lot of noise in them and lots of pops and crackles that whoever did the transcription did not do a good job of cleaning them up. And I ended up cleaning them up as best I could. There's only so much you can do after the fact. And so we're going to hear this episode of the Hallmark Hall of Fame from 69 years ago, December 5th, 1954. Wyatt Earp, Marshal of Kansas.
Remember, a Hallmark card when you care enough to send the very best. From Hollywood, the makers of Hallmark cards bring you a true story from the life of Wyatt Earp on the Hallmark Hall of Fame. And here is our distinguished host, Edward Arnold. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hallmark Hall of Fame. Tonight, our true story is transcribed from the life of one of America's most fabulous and courageous law enforcement officers, the famous marshal and sheriff of the early West, Wyatt Earp. Now, Wyatt Earp was more than a Western gunslinger, more than a fast man on the draw. He was directly responsible, perhaps more than any other person, for bringing law and order to the West. And our story tonight will tell you how it all began. Now, here is Frank Gotts.
As the Christmas season approaches, one of the most enjoyable prospects is the sending of Hallmark Christmas cards, to be chosen with pleasure and mailed with pride. For in Hallmark cards of any price, you'll find the inherent quality and craftsmanship you want in your personal greeting to your friends. And the familiar Hallmark and crown on the back of the card shows, too, that you care enough to send the very best. And now Mr. Arnold brings you our true story from the life of Wyatt Earp on the Hallmark Hall of Fame.
Wyatt Earp was born on March the 19th, 1848 at Monmouth, Illinois. In 1864, his family migrated further west, and young Wyatt became first a stagecoach driver, then part owner of a wagon freight line, next a guide for a government surveying party, and finally, in the early 1870s, a successful buffalo hunter. One evening in the spring of 1873, Wyatt and his partner, Brad Evans, returned to their camp where they pegged out the skins from the day's kill to dry.
Big fellow, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Skin like this might bring $5. Too bad we ain't got more like him.
Oh, we've done all right, Brad.
Oh, sure we have. Why, sure we have. Not as good as last year, though. I've been doing some figuring. We're averaging about 4 animals a day less this go-around.
Uh-huh.
Of course, next year will probably be better. I expect there's ups and downs in buffalo killing like everything else.
There won't be any next year, Brad. Leastways, not for me.
Huh?
Other herds are thinning out, and they're a lot harder to find, too. Next fall, most of the hunters will lose money. After that, well, won't be very long before the animals are as scarce as hen's teeth.
Oh, there'll always be buffalo, Wyatt. Why, we've seen them by the thousands. They couldn't just be wiped off the face of the earth no matter what.
Maybe not, Brad. Maybe not. But that's how I see it.
Well, if you ain't going to hunt buffalo, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Now you're not going to do nothing foolish like get yourself married and start raising a family.
I've been married.
What?
Oh, we weren't together very long. There was a typhus epidemic.
I'm sorry, Wyatt. I just never thought that... Well, you don't seem like the marrying type to me.
I'm not. Not now, anyhow.
You ever think of going back to stage driving or hauling freight?
Oh, that was all right when I was a kid before the railroads came through. No, by the time we sell these skins, I'm going to be worth a couple of $1,000. You know, there's lots of money being made in cattle these days. Folks driving their herds up from Texas.
Well, you just take my advice and stay away from them Kansas cattle towns, Wyatt.
Now, what do you mean?
You get mixed up with them cowboys and them wide-open burgs, and the first thing you know, you'll be using that 6-gun of yours. Oh, I'm not denying that you're mighty handy with it. But you ain't got the temperament to be a gunfighter.
Now, Brad, I got no intention of being a gunfighter.
Well, you get to hanging out where they hang out, and it'll rub off. Sure as fate, it'll rub off on you.
Well, man's got to do something. He's got to go somewhere.
He don't have to go to them Kansas cattle towns.
All right, Brad. Since you're so concerned, when I go east, I won't wear my guns. That ought to cut down my chances of getting into trouble.
Yeah, you'll put 'em on fast enough. Mark my word, Wyatt, you'll put 'em on.
A short time later, Wyatt Earp drifted into the town of Ellsworth, Kansas. At the time, Ellsworth was one of the northern shipping centers for the Texas cattle herds, and over 150,000 head grazed on nearby prairies while awaiting shipment further east. With the cattle were 1,000 impatient, swaggering, gun-belted cowboys. On the afternoon of August 18th, as Wyatt slowly crossed the plaza, he was met by Ben Thompson, one of the leaders of the Texas contingent. Ben carried a loaded shotgun, and with him were some 10 or 12 cowmen.
Hey, hold on there. Where do you think you're going?
Anywhere I'm a mind to.
Yeah? Well, it just might be we've got a mind to tell you.
Hey, it's Wyatt, ain't it? Wyatt Earp?
That's right. Hello, Ben.
Yeah. What you doing around here?
Oh, just passing through.
You know him, Ben? Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Well, go ahead, Wyatt. Go on about your business. It's all right with me.
I didn't ask you whether it was all right or not, Ben. I don't know any reason why I should.
Howdy.
Store's closed for the day, mister. Better come back tomorrow.
It's pretty early to be closing up, isn't it?
That's my business, ain't it?
Oh, sure. You mind telling me what's going on out there?
Why didn't you ask your friend, Ben Thompson?
Well, I met up with Ben here and there, played cards with him, but that doesn't make him my friend.
He said you was. I heard him say so.
No, you didn't hear me say so.
You mean you ain't from Texas?
California.
Well, I might have figured you wasn't no cowboy, seeing as how you was bare-hipped. I sure do apologize for the mistake, Mr.
Earp. Wyatt Earp.
Oh, my name's Beebe.
Ben shot the sheriff?
No, it was Ben's kid brother, Bill. There was an argument over at Brennan's Saloon. The Thompsons and a fellow they was playing poker with. Sheriff Whitney tried to quiet him, and Bill Thompson cut him down point blank. I ain't heard yet, but...
Where did Bill go?
Oh, he hightailed it out of town. Ben took his shotgun to cover him, and he's been standing out there ever since, daring somebody to go after Bill. Well, them fellas out there, they're just looking for an excuse to tree Ellsworth the way they've treed all the other cow towns. I never should have put in that plate glass. I knowed it when I ordered it.
Well, I guess I'll be moving on.
Oh, you got any special place to go, son?
No. No special place.
Well, if you'd like to earn a little change, you can give me a hand here. I'm making up some burying boxes. I'll pay you 2 bits a box.
Well, that sounds like a fair price. How many you want?
As many as you can make till this pile of lumber gives out anyway. We'll need them before the day's out. I tell you, we'll need them.
In just a moment, we'll bring you the second act of the Hallmark Hall of Fame. As you know, Hallmark has always offered a beautiful array of religious Christmas cards. And this year, the collection is larger than ever, as you will see when you visit one of the fine stores that features Hallmark cards. Seeing this collection is almost like visiting a gallery of religious art. There are Hallmark Christmas cards which reproduce world-famous religious paintings, and there are cards designed by modern-day artists who treat the subject of the first Christmas with a freshness and simplicity that's inspiring. The messages, too, reflect this mood of reverence. There are Hallmark cards with a Christmas prayer inside, and a whole series that feature the stirring words of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. Dr. Peale has written these beautiful and inspiring Christmas messages exclusively for Hallmark cards. And you'll find his moving words on each of the 12 Christmas cards contained in the Hallmark Dr. Peale box, as well as on individual Hallmark Christmas cards. And remember, as always, it's Hallmark cards when you carry enough to send the very best. And now Edward Arnold brings you the second act of our true story from the life of Wyatt Earp.
For the next half hour, Ben Thompson rolled up and down the plaza shouting threats and defying the decent citizens of Ellsworth. No one had yet attempted to disarm him and his cowboy allies.
Hey, what are you waiting for? Come on out and open somebody. Give us a little target practice.
Inside the store, Wyatt Earp and George Beebe were joined by Mayor Jim Miller and Deputy Marshal Happy Jack Marco. a hired Indian fighter, and a six-gun expert.
I'm not going to put up with this nonsense any longer, Jack. Now, you go out there and you lay down the law.
Why, they'd shoot me down before I got my mouth open. A man would be plumb loco to set a foot outside that door. I walked past Thompson a little while ago. He didn't bother me. Well, you ain't a deputy marshal. Now, that's true, I'm not.
Jack, I'm tired of arguing with you.
And I'm tired of listening. You want to arrest Ben Thompson? Arrest him yourself.
All right. Guess I'll have to. There just don't seem to be anybody else to do it.
Don't stand in front of the window, Jim.
Ben? This is the mayor.
Howdy, Mayor.
Ben, now, I'm ordering you to lay down that gun. Ben, I'm ordering you now to submit to arrest.
He wants me to submit to arrest. Get away from the window, Jim. Mr. Mayor, here's what we think of your order. Look out for the plate glass! Hey, come on, let's go down and get us a drink. I asked you to get away from my window.
Will you stop yammering about that, George? He could have killed me just then.
If he'd have wanted to. You do a lot of talking, mister. Well, that's about all anybody's doing, isn't it?
Who are you, anyway?
Just a bystander. My name's Wyatt Earp.
Never heard of you.
Well, he knows Ben Thompson. Stood up to him, too. Just before you got here, Jim. Stood up to him right out there in the street, just as big as life.
That's so. I guess he wasn't taking much of a risk, seeing as how he ain't wearing a gun.
Well, I don't see where your gun's been much help, Jack.
Now, just give them cowboys a few hours to get some of the devilment out of their bones, and by morning, everything will be peaceful again.
Maybe.
But that won't stop them from killing your next sheriff any time they got a mind to.
How, would you go about stopping him, Earp?
I'd arrest him, or I'd kill him.
Okay.
Go ahead. What do you think you're pulling, Jim? He ain't got the right to arrest nobody. I'm the deputy marshal.
Oh, you're fired, Marco. Give me your badge. Hand it over.
Well, all right, Jim. But who's going to wear it after Herb gets himself killed?
That ain't your worry.
Well, I'll be around back when you want me.
All right, Mr. Earp. Here's your badge. You're the marshal now. And I'm ordering you to arrest Ben Thompson. George, fix him up with some guns.
Right over here, son. Here, I'll take your pick. That there pair in front of brand new is supposed to be the finest set ever to come this way.
You, got any second-hand 45s?
Oh, yeah. This pair here, but,
trigger dog's been filed on them?
I ain't certain about that. Just a second. Well, it seems as though they have. Sure do work smooth.
Can I try them?
Oh, sure.
Hey, yeah, they'll do.
All right, here's some cartridges.
Oh, thank you. I'll need a belt, too.
Oh, sure. I don't know what I was thinking about. Now, this one may be a mite large.
No, that's fine.
You must be something bigger than you look.
Well, son, you all set?
Yeah. Where do you want me to bring him? Thompson, where do you want him?
Oh, well, I guess Judge Osborne's court. That's right around the corner. Yeah, you better bring him there if you arrest him.
Okay.
Herb.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, son.
What?
You ain't going out there that way with your guns in them holsters.
Well, that's where I usually wear my guns. Ben! Ben! Over here, Ben!
Wyatt?
Yeah.
I told you to go on about your business, Wyatt.
Well, I want to talk to you.
Go on, talk to him. Ben, go talk to him. You looking for trouble?
No, I'm looking for you.
Well?
You're under arrest, Ben.
Let me take this one, boy. Shut up, man. Wyatt, stay where you are.
Ben, I'm going to arrest you or I'm going to kill you.
I told you to stay where you was.
Throw down your gun.
Here, Wyatt, there's at least 15 of us here. Wouldn't be enough left of you to bother burying.
Well, I might manage to take a little company with me. You, Ben, I'd take you along. You too, Cat. I figure on including you.
Come on, Ben, we'll back you up. You're almighty eager, ain't you, seeing us me standing out here in front of you? Shut up. All right, Herb. Make your play.
I got no play to make. I'm just putting you under arrest.
Go on, I tell you, go for your guns.
I'll go for them when I need them. Now, either you use that shotgun or you throw it down. Throw it down, Benton.
Yes, I do. Them fellas over there in the store cut me down.
If they try that, they'll have to shoot it out with me first. Now drop it.
Okay, Wyatt, you're calling a turn.
The rest of you stay out of this. Now, I want your 6 guns, too, Ben.
Why, sure. Here.
Thank you. All right, the judge is waiting. Let's go.
And unless some semblance of order can be restored, I'll be obliged to adjourn this court until...
Judge, will you hold on a minute?
All right.
Don't try it, Cad. Now listen. Ben's gonna stay in jail until he's had a trial. Anybody who doesn't like the idea is welcome to join him.
A trial or lynching?
I said a trial. Now, you're making too much noise, so start moving.
I don't like that.
I said start moving.
Come on, now, wait. We're not
Very well. Now that some dignity has been restored, we can proceed. What's the charges? All right, speak up. What's the charges?
Oh, Your Honor, I guess taking part in a murder, I guess that's the charge.
Accessory to homicide. Is that what you mean, Mr. Earp?
Well, yes, sir.
All right, now, who are the witnesses? Come now, the witnesses. Did anybody see this crime?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, Mr. Earp, did you see it?
No, sir, I didn't see it, but I was told...
What you were told is not evidence, Mr. Earp.
Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
I think, under the circumstances, well, since it was Ben's brother who did the actual shooting, I think the charges ought to be, say, disturbing the peace.
Very well, Mayor Miller. Charge of accessory to a homicide is dismissed. You
accused is found guilty of disturbing the peace and is hereby fined $25.
But what about my window?
And is ordered to pay Mr. Beebe the cost of one plate glass window. Court's adjourned.
Is that all? Well, then, here's your $25, Jen.
I'll take care of it, Mr. Thompson.
Why, sure. Now, say, what about my guns? Don't I get them back?
Yes, certainly. The marshal will return them to you.
Oh, well.
Yes, that's the law. When a man's paid his fine, he gets his property back.
Oh. All right, Ben. Thanks, Wyatt. Oh, just a minute.
Yeah?
Don't put them on in here. Law or no law, don't put them on until you're out of my sight. Why, sure. You know, I'm sorry you had so much trouble, Herb. For $25, it don't hardly seem worth it. Well, I won't be needing this badge any longer.
Oh, now, hold on, Herb. You mustn't think we don't appreciate what you've done, but after all, he really wasn't guilty of murder.
Sure.
One thing, though, you really proved yourself. We, all want you to stay on here as marshal. Permanent.
That's right, Herb.
Yep, you're our man.
Well, that's mighty kind of you, gentlemen. As a matter of fact, this business today has sort of decided things for me. Up until now, I didn't know just what I wanted to do for a living, but, well, now I sort of think I might like the idea of being a lawman. A friend of mine told me I'd be putting on my guns, but I don't think he'd mind this way.
Well, then everything's going to work out fine.
The only thing is, I wouldn't care to enforce the law here in Ellsworth.
What? I don't understand. We'll pay you $100 a month.
Well, the salary's all right for a live sheriff, but you folks seem to figure a dead sheriff's only worth $25. Nah, I figure different. And I guess maybe I can find other towns that agree with me. So long.
And so Wyatt Earp refused the job of Marshal of Ellsworth. But he had chosen his career, and he soon found law enforcement jobs he was willing to accept. Deputy Marshal of Wichita, Kansas, Marshal of Dodge City, Deputy Sheriff of Tombstone, and Deputy United States Marshal. No sheriff of the year has so successfully brought law and order to the towns and states he served. Long after the notorious outlaws he had outshot or outwitted were forgotten, Wyatt Earp, at the age of 81, died peacefully in his home. But he had left behind a clear road for America, a trail leading west.
Mr. Arnold will return in just a moment. One of the wonderful things about the Christmas season is that it's a time of expressing good wishes to all our friends. But there are so many people you like to greet that you may be wondering how you can remember them all and yet stay within your Christmas budget. Well, Hallmark Cards has the answer for you. For even though Hallmark cards are always recognized for their high quality, that doesn't mean they need to be expensive. In fact, there's a very attractive selection of Hallmark cards in boxes, where even the title on the box tells you what a bargain they are, like the Hallmark Big Value Box and the Hallmark Thrifty Box. These contain 25 different Hallmark cards and cost only $1 a box. There are also others which have 25 Christmas cards, all with the same design, and they too are only $1 for the box of 25. So you see, by sending Hallmark cards, it's really easy to give all your friends the compliment of showing you care enough to send the very best. Now, here's Edward Arnold
Yes, Frank, those Hallmark box selections and all the other Hallmark Christmas cards surely do make it easy for everyone to send greetings to all of their friends at this season of the year. Well, tonight we told a dramatic moment in the history of the Old West. Incidentally, Wyatt Earp was played by William Conrad, who stars in the famous radio series Gunsmoke as Matt Dillon. Next week, we travel to England and to the 18th century on the Hallmark Hall of Fame. It'll be a true story from the life of one of England's greatest actresses, Sarah Siddons. And our star will be the charming and brilliant Miss Helen Hayes.
And the following week is another special event, I believe.
That's right, Frank. On December 19th, we will be proud to bring, just as he performed it on the Hallmark Hall of Fame, Lionel Barrymore in his famous portrayal of Scrooge in Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. We are indeed honored to help continue this beloved Christmas tradition. This is Edward Arnold saying good night until next week. Won't you join us then?
Look for Hallmark cards that are sold only in stores that have been carefully selected to give you expert and friendly service. Remember, a Hallmark card when you carry enough to send the very best. The Hallmark Hall of Fame is produced and directed by William Krug. Tonight's transcribed script by Frank Burt. Included in our cast were Parley Bear, Herb Vigran, Lawrence Dobkin, Harry Bartell, Joseph Kearns, Paul Dubov, and Paul Frees. William Conrad is heard every Saturday on Gunsmoke over CDS Radio. Brought to you by L&M Filter Cigarettes. This is Frank Goss saying goodnight to you until next week at this same time, when you'll hear a true story from the life of Sarah Siddons, starring Miss Helen Hayes, on the Hallmark Hall of Fame. This is the CBS Radio Network.
And there you hear William Conrad in back-to-back episodes here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That one from the Hallmark Hall of Fame, 69 years ago, December 5th, 1954. Tomorrow, This Is Your FBI, Suspense, Gangbusters, The Challenge of the Yukon, and Fibber McGee and Molly. Coming up, though, in a moment, we head to Pine Ridge, Arkansas, see what's going on with Lum and Abner and that stove.
That machine you hear is a zip code scanner in action. An electronic device that actually reads the zip code on your letters and speeds them on their way at the fantastic rate of 36,000 per hour. Put it to work for you. Use zip code on every letter you send. Don't hold up the mail. Remember, mail moves the country, and zip code moves the mail.
Let's go to a time long before zip codes now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, back 82 years, December 5th, 1941, as we check in Pine Ridge, Arkansas, with Lum and Abner.
The makers of Alka-Seltzer bring you Lum and Abner. Say, I wonder how many of you folks who are tuned to Lum and Abner's broadcast now are planning on going out this evening to a movie and refreshments afterwards, a dance or a party with friends. Well, if not tonight, maybe you're going out stepping tomorrow night or some night soon. Well, here's hoping you have a mighty good time. Also, we hope that if you have too good a time, if you stay out late and eat or drink unwisely, that you'll remember to take Alka-Seltzer for quick relief for those common after-the-party ailments which frequently follow an evening out. Take Alka-Seltzer for headaches. Take Alka-Seltzer for acid indigestion, for upset stomach and morning after misery, and you'll feel better fast. Now, some folks prefer taking Alka-Seltzer before they go to bed following a party because they found that it actually helps them avoid much of the distress of the morning after, while others like to take it the next morning. But whether you take it the night before or the morning after, or at both times if your evening out warrants it, be sure to take Alka-Seltzer and roll out of that bed with a smile. Get it at any drugstore, either by the package or by the glass at the soda fountain. And now, let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, Lum and Abner are now busy shoving things around in their jot-em-down store and public library to make room for their newest business venture, the Pine Ridge Bakery. When we last visited our old friends, Cedric had brought Lum's old cook stove over to the store, and now, as we look in on the little community, we find the old fellows trying to put up the stovepipe. Lum is directing the work, while Abner is up on a stepladder, and Grandpappy, of course, is in the library, still reading the almanac. Listen.
Now, whereabouts now, Lum? Right about here?
Wait a minute. A little over to the left there, Abner.
Over to the left, huh?
Yeah, that's it. That's right square over the stove. Put her right in there.
All right, here goes. Seems a shame, though, to saw a hole right through the ceiling.
Well, we got to put that stovepipe someplace. Can't have the smoke just floating around in the store, can we?
No, of course not.
And it'd be even worse in the library. Folks come in to read and get smoke in their eyes, liable to lawsuit us.
You better get the phone, Lum. That's our ring, I believe.
All right, but don't wiggle around too much up there. This ladder ain't too steady.
I'm all right.
Hello, Jot 'em Down Store, Public Library, and Pine Ridge Bakery speaking. Lum Eddard speaking. Mom? Oh, yes, Miss Bates. Uh-huh. All right, gallon of coal oil. I think we got clothespins. How many did you want? 2 dozen. What else now? All right, 24 or 48-pound sack. All right, anything else? How about some bread? No, you can get it right here every day now. We're putting in a bakery. Yes, Mom, we ought to get out our first batch of bread today.
Hey, Lum, how's this now? Oh, excuse me, I thought you was down there.
What's that, Miss Bates? Oh, well, now, there ain't no sense you going to all that bother when you can get all the loaves you want right here. Why, sure. Just throw that dough away and try our bread. Yes, Mom. Oh, yeah, today. All right, Miss Bates. We'll send it over. Thank you, Mom. Goodbye.
How's this look now, Lum?
Huh? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Did you hear that, Abner? We got an order for a loaf of bread already. Miss Bates.
Well, good for us. Hand up a stovepipe now and let's see if it fits here.
Yeah, all right, I'll get it. Grannies, I know we're going to make a big success out of this bakery, Abner. I believe it's the best idea I've ever had.
Well...
And I've had some awful good ones, too. You got hold of the pipe?
Yeah, I got it. Let's see now, let me get it up here.
What's the matter?
Dad, blame it. The stovepipe's too big, Lum. Look here, it won't go through here. Now what are we going to do?
Well, that's simple enough. Just got to have a bigger hole in the ceiling, that's all.
Huh? Oh, yeah, do that.
Well, what do you know? Hey, Abner.
Don't bother us now, Grandpap. Can't you see we're busy?
Yeah, guess who won the 1936 North American Bobsled Racing Championship?
I don't know. You got a good grip on this stovepipe, Lum.
I got it.
All right, here we go.
It was A. Wells, K. Gelbach, M. Luck, and J. Otis. 4-man team.
Uh-huh. Now, hand me up the saw again, Lum.
Huh?
The saw there.
Oh, here you are.
Here.
They won the bobsled race in 1936, according to the almanac.
That's fine.
Huh? Abner just said that's fine, Grandpap. He's glad to hear about them fellers that win. Fellers that win? Oh, just a minute. Yeah, here they are. A. Wells, K. Gelbach, M. Luck, and J. Otis. That's the 4-man team. I see. That's interesting. Now, don't bother us anymore. M. Monahan Jr. and W. Morrison was on the 2-man team. They was, huh? Yes, sir. According to the almanac. Now, the 4-man team was made up of A. Wells, K. Gelbach, M. Luck, and J. Otis. Took first place in the bobsled race in 1936, February 22nd and 23rd.
Hey, Lum, that's our ring again, I believe.
Yeah, I'll get it. As soon as I find out who won the bobsled race in 1936. I can tell you that, Lum. It was A. Wells, K. Gelbach.
Hey, Chuck, Grandpap, you've told us that 1,000 or 100 times.
Yeah. Hello, jot 'em down store, library and bakery, Lum Eddard's head chef talking. Also a head librarian. Oh, hello, Miss Seastrunks. What can we do for you? Ma? Yeah, I said bakery. Oh, sure. Putting one right here in the store. Today? Why, sure we can. How many loaves was you wanting? Why, sure we can handle that many. Anything else? All right. Well, yes'm, we got some fresh sorghums. They're nice. Gallon bucket, all right. Some old man Tolliver made. Awful good. You just want one bucket, though, huh? All right. Yes, Mom, we get it over this afternoon. All right. Goodbye, Miss Seastrunk. Granny's Abner, did you hear that? Another order for bread.
Yeah, I hear her. How many loaves?
Why, it's Miss Seastrunk. She wants 4 loaves, and Miss Bates wants 1. That's 5 altogether. Granny, we better hurry up and get started baking.
Yeah, well, I'm done with this sewing up here now. Yes, sir, I believe this hole here ought to be big enough for that stovepipe. Now, hand her up, and we'll try it again, Long.
Yeah, all right. Coming right up.
All right, a little higher.
Granny, I can't hardly wait to get... Wait a minute. You crazy idiot. What did you do up there?
Huh?
You got 2 holes sawed in the ceiling.
Why, sure. The first one was too little, and you said to make a bigger one.
For goodness sakes.
Well, ain't that what you told me to do?
Of course I did, but I didn't mean for you to make a new hole. I just mean to make the other one bigger.
Well, doggy, that's right, ain't it? I could have did that. I never thought of that.
One, two, goodness, Abner. I don't know what that head's doing on your shoulders. You never use it. I don't know how I've put up with you all these years.
Well, Lom, I was...
Never mind. It's done did now.
Well, do you want me to go up on the roof and patch up that other hole?
No, don't bother. No telling what you'll do up there.
Huh?
I'll tend to it later myself. Let's just get this stovepipe hooked up so that we can start the bakery. Got a big order to get out here today, 5 loaves, and ain't even got the stovepipe up yet.
Well, come on, hand the stovepipe up here, then. Doggies, I thought I was doing the right thing.
Hey, you fellas got a pencil I can borrow? Gotta have one quick.
Pencil? What's the trouble, Grandpap?
Just a minute, Grandpap, till I put down this stovepipe. Yeah, hurry up, Lum. Here you are. Here's a pencil. Catch it.
What do you need a pencil for, Grandpap?
I want to write this down before I forget it.
Write what?
In January 1937, Keokuk, Iowa had a +1 variation in its magnetic declination.
Magnetic declination?
Yes, sir. According to the almanac.
Well, what in the world is a magnetic declination?
I don't know, Abner. Ain't got the slightest idea, but it must be something important. It's in the book here.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to write it down so I could look it up in the almanac sometime.
The almanac? Well, that's what you're reading there now.
Huh? Well, I'll be dog. That's right, ain't it? Yeah, here, Lum, here's your pencil back. I guess I won't write it down after all. For goodness sakes. Really got too much prittle-prattle going on around this store. Come on, Abner, get to work there.
Well, don't holler at me. I ain't holding things up. It's Grandpa.
Well, I don't care who it was. Get to work. We got 5 loaves of bread to bake you today.
Well, hand the stovepipe up here.
Oh, grab hold of it
I
there.
got a little hard. Now I got her.
All right, try it in that new place you saw.
Yeah, that's where I'm putting it.
Granny, that looks awful, all them holes in the ceiling that way.
All right, Doggy, looky here, Lom. It fits. Look there, just right.
Yeah, but look down here.
Huh?
The stovepipe's too far over. Don't hook onto the stove where it ought to. Granny's ought to got up there and done the thing myself.
Well, I can saw another place right here.
No, you don't now. You did enough sewing already. Too much, facts is. We never will get our bacon did at the rate we're going.
Well, now, Lom, I'll be
Never
glad.
mind, Abner. Give me a chance to study this thing out.
Well, how about just moving the stove over?
Can't do it. It's right up against the wall now.
Oh.
Besides, it's right where I want it.
Well, the only thing to do then is make a new hole or move the store.
Abner, put that saw down.
No, sir, I'm going to do it now, Lum. You got your heart set on starting a bakery today. And all right, doggies, we're going to do it. Here, grab his stovepipe.
Abner, listen to me.
Well, now, Lum, if you want to get this bakery started...
Just forget it. Drop it.
Well, all right.
Well, you crazy idiot. What'd you do that for?
You said drop it.
Well, I didn't mean drop the stovepipe. Granny's, look at it now. It's all bent. Ruined.
That's our ring, I believe, Lum.
Granny, no matter what I start to do, you manage to ruin it some way or other.
The telephone, Lum.
I'll get it. What I go through around here. Hello, jot 'em down. Oh, yes, Miss Bates. Mom? Well, no, the bread ain't exactly ready yet. By the way, Miss Bates, have you still got that dough I told you to throw away a while ago? Well, I hate to ask you this, but would you mind baking up 5 loaves of bread and send them over to our bakery? Yes, Mom, and then we'll send your 1 loaf back over there.
You know, folks, it's a lot of fun to guess what's going to happen next down in Pine Ridge, isn't it? But there are times when guessing can be a serious matter. For example, don't just guess that the food you eat supplies all the vitamins A and D you need each day, or often it doesn't. So play safe and make sure you get ample vitamins A and D by taking one a-day brand vitamin A and D tablet every day. Now, 1 tablet a day is all you take, and a penny a day is all it costs. Each 1-a-day tablet contains, in convenient-to-take, pleasant-to-taste tablet form, the same amount of vitamins A and D as are found in 2 whole teaspoonfuls of cod liver oil, meeting minimum United States pharmacopoeia standards, an amount which is equal to 50% more than your minimum daily requirements of these 2 important vitamins. And just think of being able to get this necessary vitamin protection at these low prices. 30 tablets, 35 cents. 90 tablets, 85 cents. And 180 tablets, only $1.50. So start now to get the benefits of ample vitamins A and D. Ask your druggist for 1-a-day brand vitamin A and D tablets right away. They're guaranteed, you know, by the makers of Alka-Seltzer. Oh, say, that reminds me. While you're in the drugstore, you better get a package of Alka-Seltzer tablets, too.
I wonder how, hopefully in a couple of days they'll be able to get the bakery up and running. That episode of Lum and Abner, 82 years ago, December 5th, 1941, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you will visit us tomorrow when we have a lot of crime going on. This is your FBI Gangbusters Suspense Challenge of the Yukon, and Fibber McGee and Molly. That'll be on our next edition here of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Have yourself a great Tuesday, and we will see you on Vetnish Day.